F-U-N. F-U-N. What's up, baby? How are you? And I mixed up the live a little bit today. I put some new updated information in there, so we're going to be going over that. So I am just, guys, as you come in, just do me a favor and share the live. Even if you don't stay, that's perfectly fine. Just share the live. Very, very relevant. What was I doing here? I just came back from going for a walk. Oh, it's hot. It's getting, what month is this? April? Is it April supposed to be this hot? I don't remember how things work. It is hot. And this is a person that grew up on an island and lived in Florida for 10 years. And I'm like, it's hot. Hi, guys. Thanks for the flowers and the gifts. I appreciate it. I'm actually going to be starting a nursing scholarship. So that's another reason why I want you guys to stay tuned. Even if you're not going to nursing school, you may need someone. It's only going to be $500. It's only going to be $500. But like Beyonce say, you got to be about that action, right? So that's what I'm working towards. I need to put a list. I need to put together a list so that people can sign up so they know when the application goes out. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm just paying some bills real quick. All right, how's everybody doing this morning? Morning. Hold on, let's turn up the thing. I feel like we're not awake. Are we awake? I know it's 9 in the morning. Are y'all up? Who's up? It's my favorite soca song now. I don't know if you're a fan of the soca, but it is definitely a dopamine boost. I love it. Welcome. Where's all my Caribbean people this morning? Where's all my soca lover people? All my people that like to have good energy around them. Where you at? You're not in here? Okay, it must be bots. Welcome. Good morning, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Larissa. I'm your favorite night nurse, and I'm here. Very nice. Welcome. Thanks for the little participation. Thank you. All right, guys, we are gathered here today to talk about furnished rentals. And I tailored this very specifically to travel nursing. My name is Larissa. For 7 years. The mentor coaching public speaking business known as the Parkwood Project. Go ahead and check that out. And then I also have a furnished rental business, which is known as Rothschild Rentals, where I own 4 properties and I co-host or property manage for a real estate investor that owns 10. Okay. I want to talk about furnished rentals in the guise of travel nursing because guess what? Today, my good friend, my very good friend, texts me 4 o'clock in the morning. Said her CPA says to her, she did some travel nursing work. I think she claimed 1 or something like that. And last year she only traveled for like a few months out of the year, out of the last up of the travel nursing money. And the CPA is like, yeah, you owe 11 grand. 4 o'clock in the morning, she reaches out to me to talk to me. So, I give her some feedback, but there's only so much the CPA can do for you, specifically as a transient worker, right? A travel nurse, you're in transient work. There's only so much they can do for you without you having an existing corporation LLC business. Okay, so what's going to happen to her? She's not going to have any way to offset that tax bill because a lot of the breaks that you get, a lot of the deductions you get are not for persons, it's for businesses. Okay, this is why I encourage nurses, very specifically travel nurses. If this is something you're going to do on an ongoing basis, you need to start a business, or else they're going to take all of your money, babes. All right, I'm here to help you. Hey, Lisa, what's up, baby? Okay, so this is one of the ways that I use. Wait, so if I'm going to do Airbnb, do you need an LLC? You don't need one, but it will help you. You don't need one per se, but it will help you. And I'm going to get into why. Okay? Now, so that's part of the reason why I'm doing this specific live. So some of the things I'm going to tailor it back towards travel nursing, because that's how I started. I used my funds from travel nurses to get my business started. And a lot of the people that I talk to and coach and stuff like that, they are interested in travel nursing, or they're in travel nursing. They want to find how to use that bag that they got to pivot into something else. Okay. One of the ways is to start your own furnished rental company. Why? Because it's easy to get started. Anyone can sign up for Airbnb, right? It's just how you go about it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you need to do if you're thinking about starting a furnished rental business is do a self-assessment. What does that look like? Is Airbnb appropriate for you? Do you have the time? Do you have the right personality? And I think that's bigger than the time, right? That's rated higher than the time, because listen, Airbnb is not a real estate business. It is a hospitality and customer service business, and the two of those are tied for first place. If those things are not your forte, if those things are not something that you're interested in, you need to either one, find a different business model, or two, you need to find someone that can be the face of the customer service portion of it. Okay? Do not go into Airbnb if you don't like corresponding with people. And the reason why, now, can you start an Airbnb and then outsource like all of these things to a property manager or a VA or somebody in the Philippines? Absolutely, yes, you can. However, I'm here to tell you that the structure of how people are making money on Airbnb has changed and is continuing to change, which means the increased fees and the increased competition are going to cut into your margins, which is where you make your profit. And that's what you would use, right? Because it would make your expenses go up if you have to pay for a property manager or someone like, other people other than the essentials. So if you're just starting out with 1 or 2 units, it's best that you find the time to manage it yourself until, you recoup some of the expensive you have spent, which we're going to discuss. Okay, so first you need to do the self-assessment. Second, and we're going to talk about location twice, but in the first sense of talking about location, you need to ask yourself this. If I put an Airbnb here, wherever here is, Houston, how's Drake's song go? Houston, ATA, what's the song? Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. Any one of those places and in between, will people come there? Why are people coming there? Do that first. Not everywhere, not because you live somewhere mean other people are going to come there. Okay? So you need to double check and make sure that it makes sense. Right? Now, if you think of like an obscure state, someone was in here a few lives ago and they were in the Twin Cities, which is in Minnesota, and which Minnesota is not really like a tourist destination, right? I mean, in the summer here, it's very nice, and they have sports teams and things of that nature. The other thing that they have there are big medical centers. The Mayo Clinic. The Mayo Clinic is a world-renowned medical center. She was 7 or 10 minutes away. That's an ideal location to put an Airbnb, because by the hook or the crook, some sort of person is going to come there. Whether it's residents, traveling nurses, people traveling for research, consultants, family members with people. Oh my God, that dump truck. Family members with people traveling for work. I mean, in the hospital. Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. All right, thank you. I'm about to buy in Fort Lauderdale, by the airport in Las Olas, by the beach, a little 2-bedroom with a yard. Hopefully it's not flooded. Listen, we're both from Florida. We've actually worked at some of the same places. Typically, Florida is an outlier, right? Typically, Florida is an outlier. And when I say it's outlier is, unless you're putting that thing out in the swamp by the 75, you're going to do well. Because guess what? People are coming from all over. People are coming from the south, people are coming from the north, and then people are coming from across the United States. There's a bunch of attractions, and then the weather itself is an attraction. Right? You're going to do well. You just have to, your whole thing is going to be like marketing, but Florida is one of those places where Airbnbs do well, specifically if you own, because you're still able to charge $200 plus a night, given the exact location where you're in a good location there, and amenities. The more amenities you have, the more you can charge. So you're good to go. All right. But then, the flooding and the hurricanes are the downside. There's insurance, you got to take a chance with everything. But Florida is always a good spot to be. All right, so after you do the location, you need to set up the LLC. So the next thing, let me flip the screen around and give a little disclaimer. Because I know people like, flip the screen around. Guys, I'm going to flip the screen around. So, did they change this? How do I do this now? Okay, guys, sorry. they changed up some of the stuff in the background for, there was an update with TikTok, so now some of these things are like weird. You have me hype. Yes, so stay tuned for what I'm talking about. Get ready to buy property in Baltimore downtown at the Inner Harbor. Yes, let's talk about Baltimore. One of my, so I have like a crew of friends, to be honest, it's 4 of them that have properties in different places, right? So that's how when people call me about certain markets for Airbnb, I know about it because I have a friend that has a property there. So one of my friends is invested in Baltimore, and I have another person that is a realtor here in the city that I'm in. Currently, I'm in Charlotte, and he does deals in Baltimore too. Baltimore is a place where if you're going to invest, you need eyes or boots or something on the ground. Because if you know about Baltimore, you can go on one block and it's like, wow, you on the next block, you think they still got the setup from The Wire. Right? Baltimore is a really, really good place to put furnished rentals because guess what? They have like a little, I don't know if it's a triangle, but you have Johns Hopkins there. You have University of Maryland there, Baltimore. And there's one other school there. You have Shock Trauma Center. So one place that gets travel nurses and residents and all that year round is that particular area. So you live in Baltimore, so you know what type of time they're down, they're on, in Baltimore. So like my friend who has a property down there, he charges, I think, it's a competitive rate. I think his furnished rental for his travel nurses is probably like $2,700. And then, they share the space or whatever it is. But it's an ideal location and people pay for it because you probably shouldn't walk to work in certain places in Baltimore. If you know, but he does very well there. But Baltimore is a good place. This would be ideal for Orange Bird Girl, right? Because you live there. You know what type of time it's on. An out-of-state investor, unless you have a tie with a person like Orange Bird Girl here, I would probably think about starting in your own backyard first. If you have someone you can trust, where you can do like a JV, a joint venture, I would go for it, right? Because the gentrification out there is a little weird, right? It's coming, but then it's like a lot of places, certain blocks are being left behind, and that's going to take people investing in the community in order to bring that forward. Orange Bird Girl, if you agree with me, go ahead and let me know in the comments and give me some feedback because you're on the ground. So help everybody out with your feedback. All right, so let's go back to setting up. So this live is very specifically talking to travel nurses. That's how I got started, and I'm encouraging other travel nurses to get started in some sort of business venture based on the story I told at the beginning. My friend got into travel nursing at the tail end of the COVID. She got her bag. It wasn't a big, massive bag, but it was a bag enough, and now she owes 11 grand to the IRS. And she has no way to offset it because what? She does not have a business. All right. Now, I'm not telling you to go create an LLC so you don't pay your taxes. But what I'm telling you is if you have the inclination to be an entrepreneur, you have some sort of product that you're selling, whether it's an Etsy shop, whether it's, the report sheets or planners or something like that, structure your business like the following work, like we're about to go to, because you're going to hit a point in the road where it's going to become an advantage. And I'm going to talk about it very shortly. Someone said something here. I bought your course. I'm going through it right now. Yeah, go ahead and let us know what you think. It will send you a review. I do implore that you guys do the review because I want more people to see what's in there and how the course can help them. Yes, there are places you can't do Airbnb, very specifically. And you have to think about the people that haven't been to Baltimore, Baltimore, the city, right? Especially like if you're traveling for work or nurses or something like that. When you live in cities like Baltimore, when you live in cities like Miami, Lisa and I are from Miami. We work in Miami. There's certain places, there's certain things you just don't do. And Baltimore is one of those cities like Miami, like when you go to Opelika, Liberty City, Overtown, even Hialeah in certain instances, you have to move a certain kind of way. If you're going to put up an Airbnb, safety has to be one of the priorities for your guests. So that's why certain places in Baltimore, you have to think about your guest safety without them. Hey, it is what it is. Let's tell the people what it is. You already know what type of time it is. I went to, when I went to nursing school in Miami-Dade back in 2010, 2011, and you went over, this is before Overtown started to get that little bit of gentrification from downtown and over there by, I forgot the name of it, but Overtown, I would ride by going to get food from one of the Cuban stores, and somebody would come out and try to sell me paraphernalia. Come up to the car, because it's like, it's known. If if a person like me, and I had an okay car, at the time I was driving like a 2004 or 2006 Infiniti G35, right? It looked nice on the outside. People know when you come to those areas and you're in a certain kind of okay looking car, and I look like this. I was a little slimmer back then. I was in my scrubs. You were only over there for one reason. You're not doing a sociology experiment, right? It's either you were lost or you were looking to cop. And they're going to approach you, right? And he came up with his goods and was like, oh, what you want? And whatever terminology he said, I don't want to say too much on TikTok. And we were like, no, we're good. You know what I mean? So there is that. Yeah, girl, Baltimore was there for 3 months and took the bus to work. It is, no offense to Orangeburg, but yeah. Baltimore, I've been there for a short period of time. And Baltimore is the type of place you don't stop at the red light. No offense to the people in Baltimore. I love the accent. I love Baltimore. I think it's a city rich in culture, and it's a really good place if you're an entrepreneur, specifically if you want to get into real estate. You can get your start there, but these are the facts. Oh yeah, very, very, very much so. All right, so let's go back to the thing at hand. We're talking about setting up a business, and this is directly geared towards my travel nurses. If you're not a travel nurse, it's the same thing, okay? Now, specifically when you're traveling, right? Now, I'm not telling people what to claim. You should be claiming what you need to claim. Okay. However, if you're a travel nurse, you know how that W-4 works with that exemption section right there. Okay. I'm not telling anyone to do anything they're not supposed to do and go past the guidelines of the IRS tax code. But if you're a travel nurse, you know what I'm talking about. If this is something you do and you do it on your own recognizance, you need to make sure you have a backup plan. And that backup plan can very likely be you setting up a business structure for yourself. It doesn't matter what you sell, friends. It could be started on a furnished rental, and we're going to talk about how you can do that with the furnished rental, right? Okay, so say for instance, back home you're subletting wherever you live, whether it's your apartment or say for instance you have a house, right? You would decide that, okay, I'm going to rent these out by rooms while I'm away on a travel assignment because I know I'm going to travel for about 6 months or so. I'm going to sublet it by rooms, and I'm going to do that by finding someone on Airbnb. While you're doing that, you say, okay, let me go ahead and formalize this because it's going to benefit you two ways. It's going to offset your tax burden from being a travel nurse. And then what it's also going to do is going to give you the opportunity to start your own business where you may come back and realize, hey, if I can multiply this and do it room by room in this house, finding people wherever you find them from, Furnish Finders, Facebook, if you're a travel nurse, you're in all the Facebook groups and stuff like that. Then that might be its own business within itself where you go find a whole nother apartment. Now the whole house is rented out and you're making the mortgage plus probably your rent with that. Okay. So the first thing you need to do, if this is something you desire to do, is set up an LLC. The tax people cannot help you if you don't have some way to offset that tax burden. That's why I'm telling you, listen, you ask, do you need to? No, but it helps. Right? So what you need to do for the LLC, you need to go, if you're in Florida, you go to sunbiz.org. Do not need to pay anyone to you can just go and file for it by yourself with sunbiz.org. Now, it's breaking up. Yeah, sorry, it was the request. Go ahead and let me know if I'm talking good now. Can everybody hear me? Is everything good? File your LLC, right? They have places like InkFile and what's the other place? LegalZoom. They're helpful. I would probably use those places if you were going to look for like a trademark, right? You want to trademark some sort of term or something like that. I would do that, or probably just seek out the help of an attorney because that application process to get your stuff trademarked is a little tricky. So you probably want to get some help with that. While you're setting up an LLC, I would probably start talking or developing a relationship with a tax expert, right? Because when you have your LLC, but then you have an S Corp and a C Corp, right? The S Corp is if you have over 100 employees or something like that. And then the other one is the opposite. That's a tax filing. S Corp and C Corp is not a type of business setup. It is a tax filing. So you need to, you don't have to do this right away, but I'm just bringing it to your attention so that when you go to your tax expert and you're asking them questions, they can let you know what's most appropriate for you. Okay, so that's with setting up the LLC. The other thing with the LLC, why I'm encouraging people to do it, one, like I said before, the tax code is more favorable to people that have businesses. If you're operating as a sole proprietor, right, that's just you having a small business or a side hustle or something like that, you don't get some of the benefits of the tax code to offset your tax burdens. Right? This is not tax advice. I'm just telling you from my own personal experience how it was explained to me, what I learned from the years I've been doing like teaching and things of that nature, and just being a student of life and learning about, real estate business and so on and so forth. That's part of the reason why you need to set up the LLC. That's what the LLC bros aren't telling you. Because you have to remember, you make money multiple ways in businesses, right? There's different ways you can make money. Royalties, equity, what else is there? Earned income, sales, all of that other stuff. Another way you make money is by savings on tax burdens. Okay? So just keep that in mind. The other thing with the LLC too, when you incorporate and you have an LLC, it gives you access to business funding. And say, for instance, in the future, you're looking to, do a different business or something like that. That business being incorporated now will benefit you in the future because over time that company gets aged, and having an age LLC or age corporation will help you with a bunch of different things. Okay. All right. Next, getting your EIN. You do not need to pay anyone to get your EIN. You can get it free from irs.gov. What you should do though, however, with the LLC, technically, you're supposed to wait until the Secretary of State tells you, like, okay, hey, your business has been incorporated, all your filings have been received. Because, for instance, if you don't do a proper reverse name search, they may reject what you want to call your business, and then you went ahead and got the EIN, and now you have the EIN for a business that's not registered, right? Because you have to go back and register it again. Okay, so those are two things. That's just a tidbit. That happened to me once with one of those businesses that I set up. So now I just caution people about it. But if you do a regular name search or something like that through Google, through on the actual website to make sure that whatever you want to call your business doesn't already exist, that should not happen. Okay, so you have the LLC, you have the EIN. Also with the LLC, what I would advise, and you could do whatever you want, is set up an LLC with like a really generic name, right? So say, for instance, your name is Ashley Hampton, right? It would be something like AH Holdings, AH Investments, AH Group, or something like that. The reason for that is, one, when you go on to look with this discriminatory within reason about giving funding, because certain industries are deemed more precarious or dangerous or risky, to invest in. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I would just caution you about that. And then you could always create DBAs under that particular holding company, such as AH Rentals or AH Consulting or something like that. All right, just keep that in mind. You don't have to do that. I'm just giving you some advice on things that I have done before and I have experienced. Okay, all right. So next, you got the LLC, you got the EIN, you did everything in a timely fashion and all of that. Next, you would need to get, you're very welcome, you need to get a virtual address. So I have used in the past Regis, and I have used One Postal, okay? Now, there's a difference between the two. One of them is cost. iPostal is a little cheaper. So with iPostal, I get a fax number, a business number, and then I get an address that's not a P.O. box. Now, a lot of the iPostals, or One Postal, I don't know what I call it, I think it's One Postal, are locations of UPS and FedEx places where they have the P.O. box, but they use a street address, right? I think this is good for certain people. It depends on what you're looking to do. For our purposes, it should work pretty fine, but I must warn you, if you're looking to get funding, certain funding sources, credit unions and banks, when they do a reverse search on your business, and it may come up because they'll do a Google Earth search to see where that property is, right? Where that address is. And if it comes up as a postal store, right, they may deny you for that particular reason. Even though we're living in the 21st century, it's 2023, traditional banking institutions still operate by those old school rules of having a brick and mortar. It just is what it is. It just may not be that that bank is for you. That happened to me with Valley National. What is it called for number and fax? OnePostal.com. 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 All right. What else can I say about them? They will house the mail for you. They can send you a little picture so you can see what's there. And then they do have the option where they can bundle it at the end of the month or however often you want, and they send it to you. Regis, on the other hand, is a little bit more expensive, and it does go to usually a corporate park or a corporate office building, right? So that part, if you were to apply to a bank like I did, you wouldn't have that problem. It also has the option to do like a WeWorking space, so you have co-working space there. You can pay for a secretary to answer the phone and take your messages, and is one other thing they offer, and some of the other little things too, with the same thing with the mail and send it to you. I can't remember if they have the phone number in there as well in the fax. I don't remember it. You have to go back and double check. But that's on Regis, but it's more expensive. The other thing with the virtual address that I think you should give consideration to is, one, all of these things, and especially when we get down to virtual address, business bank account, and I have to find a way how to flip the screen around since the update. It lends to the legitimacy of your business. This is why all of these things need to be done together. Now, when you're doing these particular things, specifically with the virtual address, sometimes where your business is located, remember we just started talking about Be More and Liberty City and all those other things. So let's take Florida, for instance. You can pick an address that's off of Collins or off of Biscayne or something like that, right? Because it matters when people are looking forward, looking your business up, right? They don't know that it's virtual. They just know that it's located on this name brand street. All right, so that's just a side note about, picking, because they'll give you a bunch of different addresses there. That's a little side note, like, okay, if you're picking it, think about that, right? Because that actually spills over into your branding and marketing as well, okay? Where your business is located. So keep that in mind. All right, next, you need to set up, is so smart, yeah. You need to set up, now granted, if you're just starting out and you want to cut costs, you can you can use your home address. Just keep in mind when you register your home address, you have to register your business. It needs to be an address there. Therefore, now your business, your personal address is on this public website. Some people are uncomfortable with that, but it is what it is. The second thing is, what was the other thing you said about the virtual address? We're laying the foundation of creating a sound structure for your business, which I will get to in a moment. So stick with me, okay? Next, a business bank account. Very, very important. If you're serious about entrepreneurship and business, creating an LLC is not just about, making money, starting a business. It's about creating structure. One of the structures it provides is what's known as a corporate veil. So what that does is when your business becomes established, you start to make revenue and so on and so forth, you have created a division between you, a person with a social security number, and your business, an entity with an EIN. Okay? That's very, very important because some of the reasons why people get LLCs is because it has protections, right? If someone sues your company, it safeguards you from getting sued and losing your personal assets, okay? However, that is further accomplished by separation of funds. So you should not have people paying you the Airbnb money that's coming in, right? That bank account needs to be separate from your own personal bank account. Because once you start to mix funds, what's known as pierces the corporate veil. So if something happens, it gives a lawyer or whoever wiggle room to come and attack your personal assets. Okay, so that's one of the reasons you need to get a business bank account. 2, your legitimate business, your business should have its own bank account. 3, sometimes when you're looking for funding, right, capital, banks will regard the day you incorporated your business as the first day of your business, or the day you started your business bank account as the first day your business was born. That's why it's important that when you're doing these things, you do them early, okay? So just keep that in mind. Let me see if I can figure out how to, someone asked me to turn this around and they updated this. So now I'm like, how does this, no, that's not it. Let me see something. Because now everything is, oh, here it is. See, it's in a new place now. They did a TikTok update, y'all, and they put the buttons in different places. My bad. Okay, so now we're up to the 1-800 number and the email. Okay, so I use Google Workspace. Google Workspace is $12 a month, and I use it through Squarespace. One of my sites is through Squarespace. I like Squarespace. Other people don't really like Squarespace because in the back end, they said it's not the best for SEO, which is search engine optimization. The reason why I stick with Squarespace, that's my man, I'm going to stand beside him, is because I know how to work the back end to tweak little things in the back end by myself. That's not to say you can't do that with other platforms. It's just I've been using it for years. I'm used to it. It's really hard for me to go and switch it up right now, since I have to do a lot of the things by myself. Now and then I'll hire someone from Fiverr to help me out with certain things, but most of the things, like if I have like a free download or something like that, I know how to do it in like, 10 minutes. Okay? So with Google Workspace, Google Workspace, it's at $12 a month. You can get a free email address, a free website is also available in there, and then a whole bunch of other things that's inside the Google Suite. When you're starting your business out, go into your Gmail account or whatever, or you should set up a Google email, a business email. Go into those little buttons at the top and look around, play with it. There's a bunch of stuff in there that integrates well with other platforms. That's why I like it. So for the 1-800 number, Google Voice, you can use Google Voice. I think you have to pay for the 1-800 number. I don't know if it's free like the Google Voice. Grasshopper is good. You should be able to get a 1-800 number with one postal. I don't remember. I've had them for some time, so I had like a local number with them as well. All right, but you must set up a corporate email. Okay, and you can get multiple corporate emails with Gmail. So it looks like it's just you and your business. It could be different things, right? It could be supplies at whatever your company's name is, or whatever it is, contact at whatever your company's name is .com. Okay, so make sure you get the 1-800 number and the Google email. And even if you don't get the 1-800 number, you should have a dedicated number that you're going to put online so people can reach out to you. Okay, so if you have a business cell phone, I use Mint. Mint costs me about $40 every 3 months or something like that for a second cell phone, and the guests text me on here. And I only give my midterm and long-term guests my personal phone number because they're there for much longer. But I feel comfortable putting this number out on the internet, right? Because, yeah. All right, so get those things together. So if you don't get the 1-800 number, a dedicated line so you can take calls and you can put out on your site. Okay, the next thing you need to do is a 401 listing. Okay, so the 401 listing means you're going to list that business, right? You're going to create accounts on places like the following: Angie's List, Thumbtack, Yellow Pages, White Pages, Yelp, Foursquare, Moto, all those different places that are 401 part of like a 401 directory. If you want a comprehensive list, there's a comprehensive list online. You type in comprehensive 401 listing list. You should try your best, print that list out, and then try your best little by little creating accounts on there. What does this do? This helps create a digital footprint for your business, which is relevant for, like we said before, getting funding, people finding you on the internet. The internet is a vast space. Not because you're able to find your site and your business and all that means other people can. You need to give them breadcrumbs that lead to you, okay? So that's the reason why you're doing that, all right? Now, hold on, let me turn this around again. All right, so where are we? The 401 listing, and then now website and social media. Okay, now with a website, if you're having a business, you should at minimum have what's known as a landing page. So a landing page is basically like a one-page website where you may be able to click on one thing on there and go to whatever your links are. Good places you can get a free landing site is MailChimp. Google also has in that workspace thing where you can have a website that's pretty cheap. It comes out pretty okay. It's not the best, but it's okay to start with as well. And then, like I told you, I like Squarespace. They're not sponsoring this video. It's just I really like Squarespace. I like the way that everything comes out looking real chic and everything like that. You can form a landing page on there, and they do have cheap options. I think they have like they have like one that's really, really cheap, like $9 a month or something like that. If you're not technically inclined, you can hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork to design the website for you, depending on whatever. I don't want no one to say I'm plugging it because I'm getting paid to. I'm plugging it because I like it, right? So whatchamacallit? Setting up that landing page or a website. So say, for instance, you only have one property, right? Or just that one room you're marketing. It doesn't matter. You should set it up. And the reason why I'm telling you to do all of these things now is because, one, if you're going to continue to do travelers, and this is geared towards my nurses. If you're not a nurse, it's geared towards you too. Don't fret. If you're not, don't fret. The information is very applicable. Setting up a sound business structure will benefit you in the future. Case in point, someone did a TikTok video the other day and said to be kind to your future self. She says sometimes she does things in the now, even though she really doesn't want to, because her future self will appreciate it. And that's something I struggled with practicing, and I do a lot more now. For instance, if I do like a load of laundry, instead of just leaving it there, I'm kind to my future self and just getting it folded and putting away where later on I can either work on something else or just relax. It's the same thing in when we're talking about this here business. It may not be a furnished rental that you continue with, but you may find another passion, right? All you need to do is go and change. Remember, you already created this structure, right? So say, for instance, you started off doing the furnished rental and you're like, you know what? This is not for me. It's too hectic. It's slow. Instead of going and formulating a whole new LLC, what would you go and do? You would go ahead and change the name of the LLC. I think it's no more than $50 to do on sunbiz.com. And then you would go and change your NAICS code, which is your industry code. Okay, you would go and change it, and guess what? You already created for yourself a shelf corporation, which within itself, if you did all of these things right, when you go on to move on to your next venture, specifically if that venture requires funding, guess what? You already have a company with history, which means you're more inclined to get funding. Now, there are other things involved with getting funding, right? And when we talk about funding, we're talking about business credit and all of that, which we're going to talk about a little bit more down here. But the reason why it's important that if you're interested in doing something, right, whether it's a side hustle or gig or something like that, it's probably in your best interest to at least attempt to go ahead and follow all he says and structure your business the right way. The other reason why, very specifically to people in healthcare, again, the opportunity to get government contracts, which is something I'm working on someone to come on to talk more about that, because I think that, my tribe on this side of TikTok can greatly benefit from. If you're going to get government contracts, you can't go over there just having a side hustle where you're collecting money on Cash App. You need to come correct. And this is a part of the foundation of coming correct, right? There are a bunch of things. The government pays really good. As shitty as they are as representatives and some of the BS that they're doing, as far as when it comes to contracting with them, they pay very good. And they're unfortunately for us as nurses or people that are frontline workers, we get favoritism, particularly if you're minority or you're, if you hit any one of those categories, minority owned, woman owned, veteran owned, so on and so forth owned. There's a lot of benefits to it. Okay, so that's part of the reason why, even if you don't go on to furnished rentals, take heed, structure the business right the first time. Okay, if the business flops, still keep up with the filings. Okay, because then another opportunity will present itself and you don't have to go and create a whole new thing. If that makes sense, put a 1 in the comment. If that makes sense, put a 1 in the comments. If this makes sense, put a 1 in the comments. I want to make sure I'm reaching my target audience. Would all this apply to marketing a business as well? Yes. And I'm glad that you're talking about that, because I was going to touch on that before. I don't want to skip ahead, but Mr. Nobody XO, you are onto something. Did you see this training that I was going to do? Did you see this beforehand? Did you hack my Canva? Because that's exactly why I'm telling you to do this. Thank you. All right. So I'm reaching my target audience. All right, so website and socials. Now, if you don't create a separate social media account for your business, and in this term we're talking about furnished rentals, you need to talk about it on your own social. You need to be comfortable with talking about it. And this is something I started to do lately. I didn't do it from the inception because people were kind of pissed about Airbnb, right? The host acting a fool, the extra fees, and then just, the standard kind of lapse. I've started to talk about it a little bit more. If you see some of my most recent videos, I've done a lot more talking about it and got comfortable with it because I realized, look, it's me. Years ago, I worked in a restaurant, and I'll never forget this. My manager's name was Aminta. I hope that lady's doing. Little tiny El Salvadoran lady, and she always wore white to work. Who wears white to work as a manager in a restaurant? She was a kitchen manager, and she wore, "You're doing a service for the people." That's what I'm here for, babe. She would wear white to work. And about the Nightingale School, I didn't do a video, but I did do some research on them. preliminarily, they're a go. Nightingale in Utah, if it's the one in Utah, preliminary, they're a go. But I have to dig a little deeper. I got distracted. Santeros, I don't know what that is. Anyway, so Aminta worked in the restaurant, right? She was my manager. Very nice lady, sweetest lady. She had beautiful black curly hair. And I was always impressed with her because she would wear white, a whole 12-hour shift in the kitchen, and she wouldn't get dirty. And one day, I was a younger kid. I think I was like in my teens or something like that. And I wasn't always as responsible as I am now. So I was like goofing around or whatever. And something happened with my tables, right? Where the order got messed up because of my own fault. I wasn't paying attention. And after work, instead of writing me up, she pulled me to the side and she said, listen, you're a smart girl. You're going to do big things or whatever. Is this being recorded? Yes, I will post it. I will post it to my YouTube. So if you aren't following me, go ahead and follow me on YouTube so that you'll know when I post it. Now, I promise you, just for you, La9007, I will post this one on YouTube for you. Anyway, so I'm talking to Aminta, and she pulls me to the side and she says, look, you're a smart girl. You have so much potential. I know you're going to go places, but you have to be more mindful. And she said this to me. She said, listen, the restaurant is a business. However, when you have your little section, your little 2 or 3 tables, that's your own little business. You need to operate like your own little business. If this was your own little business, if you thought about it, would you have done the things that you did? Which was not pay attention to the things that I was putting in and not paying attention to my guests. And I thought about it and I was like, no. It's the same thing with furnished rentals, right? Airbnb is the bigger platform, which you're going to use as your jumping off point, right? But you're still curating your own little business within the atmosphere, within the environment that's Airbnb. And you must treat it as such. Okay, so that's part of my thing there where I decided to talk freely about it because I am a good host. If you go and look at my reviews, they're stellar. People like coming to stay at my properties. Why? Because I tailor the experience to them, right? When people come in, they spend money with you, whichever way, spend their time with you. It's not about you. It's about them. What are they getting? You know what I mean? Are they getting educated? Are you resolving one of their pain points? You can do the same thing with anyone. This is applicable to all businesses, and furnished rentals, Airbnbs, is not excluded from that. Especially more so than now. This is why I said before when we started the training, it is a customer service and hospitality business first. Okay. So now you have the websites and socials. Make sure that you're, posting about it so people know about it and so on and so forth. And getting general liability insurance. If you're opening a business, you should have some business insurance. If you're a nurse, you should have malpractice insurance. If you're a nurse, you should have malpractice insurance. If you are a nurse or any other healthcare worker, please do not leave your house and step into someone's healthcare facility without malpractice insurance. Can't say that enough. Okay? Are we able to book you for a business consult? Do you have a service menu? Yes, go to the link in my bio and you can check out. You can either buy the course. Someone was in here who bought the course before. They're still going through it. I've already started to get really good reviews. And then if you want to do a one-on-one, you can book with me and I can walk you through setting up your own Airbnb or furnished rental in our particular case. Because the reason why I named it furnished rental is because we don't own Airbnb. If you're looking to start a business, it's bad business to start a business that's entirely predicated on a singular platform that you don't own. Because if something happens to it, what are you going to do now? That's why in the course I talk about, listen, and I'm talking about it here too. So if you don't want to get it, that's perfectly fine. I think it's helpful. I think it's chock full of good stuff. I mean, as a person that's, on live all the time, it would be foolish for me to put out a course that's BS and then come on live every day. Somebody might come in the comments like, yo, your course was bullshit. Give me my money back. So I made sure I put a lot of stuff in there so people are getting a high tier product. And then at baseline, I have a conscience, and 2, I'm a nurse, right? So most of the time nurses are going to be on the up and up. Florida school scandal excluded, right? Because just the way we're made up. If it's not an Airbnb business, if it's marketing business, does it still apply? The course, go ahead and give me a call first. So I can know a little bit more about what you talked about marketing. One of the B&Bs I stayed out at here is named Vacation LA, and it has a whole website. Yep. And I'm now realizing that it's exactly, yep. People are doing it. That's how I feel about TikTok. It doesn't exist and I don't have a client opportunity. Right. That's why you need to create community. That's what we're doing here, right? Each one helping each other and so on and so forth. And then this is how we, meeting off of other platforms. So for instance, I'm going to be coming out with a scholarship. If you are a nurse interested in getting a scholarship, or you know someone who will, go ahead and sign them up for my newsletter. So when I send it out, and I'm going to try to have it out by July, August. There's some little IRS related tax things that are related with doing giveaways, specifically, scholarships and other things like that. I need to run by my CPA, so I have the right forms to fill out, and I give people the right forms. But that's something that I'm going to be doing. But yeah, we need to create community on the platform, obviously, and off the platform as well. All right, so go ahead and give me a follow on YouTube, especially the person that requested that I put this video up on YouTube. I will be doing that as well. All right, so let's go back. Where were we? General liability. Now, before we go on to finding the property, let's go back. Let me flip this around so we're all on the same page here, because I want you to understand what I'm talking about. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Okay, so up until general liability, right? What do all of these things have in common? All of these things are a part of a foundation for a well-structured business. Are there more things? Yes, absolutely. Right? There's a unique ID number that you would need to get. Your Dun & Bradstreet number. Uh-oh, am I lagging again? Go ahead and let me know if it's improved. Is it better now? Let me know if I'm better now, guys. I don't know what's going on this morning. My phone probably tired. It's like, I'm tired, Grandpa. The phone, like, I'm tired, Grandpa. I'm like, it's too damn bad. Hey, Nurse Adrian, what's up? So, what was I saying to you? All of these things that I've highlighted are things that will create the structure for a sound business, right? Very, very much so when we go to the virtual address and the 411 listing, okay? Those two right there, someone asked me if this will help in marketing. It absolutely does. Why? It begins to create your digital footprint on the internet. How are people finding out about you? Even if they find out about you on TikTok, it's still the internet. If it's on Google, it's the internet. If it's a newsletter, it's the internet. That's where most people are finding out about you, okay? So even if you were to have some sort of other business, right, laying this foundation, the virtual address, now it associates your business with a specific address, which is a part of one of the components for Google to highlight you as a business, right? Having that email out there, depending on how you correspond with people or send that out, that becomes a part of your digital footprint, okay? Then it also lends to marketing as well, okay? Because now when you create, when you put out, say, for instance, you're running a Google ad, right? Or something like that, or you're running an ad in general, it'll double back to all the different things that you have in there. Also, a part of marketing, if people are going to rate you on Yelp, people rate me for both of my businesses. When guests check out, I have a QR code in there where they scan it and I inquire, probably maybe 3 out of 5 guests do it, or maybe a little bit less, because they're already leaving a review on Airbnb. So sometimes people think of, it's a lot to do. They also leave me a review on Google as well. All right. You have to set up the platform, not set up a platform, but set up a way for them to do that. Okay. So very, very important. And it also, like I said, it lays the foundation for your marketing plan. All right. So let's go back into the furnished rentals, right? Finding a property. I kind of already said that before, right? When you do your self-assessment, you need to think about the location. Okay. So Lisa's in here. She found a place that's in South Florida. South Florida is a little bit of an anomaly. Why? Because people are always going to be in Florida. No matter what they say about Florida, man, or what they say about Florida, it doesn't matter. People still going to go there on vacation. If you live in South Florida, the French Canadians alone, even though a lot of times they own their own properties, they're coming to stay. People coming from South America that live 6 months there, 6 months somewhere else. People coming from around the country that come to, Florida has a tech hub that people are not aware of, right? Miami is a tech hub. It's not a Silicon Valley, but it's a tech hub, okay? There's a bunch of industries there. There are a bunch of big corporations that have their headquarters in South Florida, okay? And that's branching out more so to like on the West Coast too, where, what is that lady's name? Kathy Woods. I think she's in charge of the ARC Foundation, which is a massive investment group. She and a couple other people from Wall Street had moved their operations to St. Petersburg, Florida, because the tax breaks are very favorable in South Florida. So no matter what they say about Florida, until it goes under the water, it's going to pop. Okay, so that's a good place to put it. And also surrounded by big medical centers, schools, and things of that nature as well. The rich visit Dubai, Europe. There's also, Ultra Music Festival. Sure. Can you slide to the slide real quick? Yeah. Okay. I know you went to Ultra. So there is that. So pick your location. Okay, correct. Now, when you're picking your location, to start off with, you need to be thinking about how you're going to manage it, right? A lot of people, different companies and gurus and other people that make courses and stuff have been selling to people that they can do Airbnb or furnished rental out of state. It's passive, it's hands off, blase soise. Is this true? Yes, but I am here to tell you, before you do that, I need you to give consideration to what we spoke about before, which are your margins. The fees on these platforms have gone up. Okay? The fees on these platforms have gone up. If you outsource everything and you don't put some of your own sweat equity into it first, you're going to lose money. You can go try for yourself and say I'm wrong, and then I want you to come back and tell me I was right, because I know I am. That's why it's important that when you're first starting off, some of these things you take the low cost approach to some of the foundational things that you need to get set up, like the Gmail and paying, getting the free landing page on MailChimp or GoDaddy and stuff, like places like that. Set up your own infrastructure first, and then probably outsource some of the other things like I would speak about here in the management team or something like that. But I'm telling you, that business model that was based off of pre-pandemic and slightly post-pandemic, when the travel nurses, everybody was traveling around and they were getting that big bag, it's not the same. So buyer beware, okay? All right. Next, when you're looking for that particular property, make sure it's in a place or space that's close to something that people want to use or go to. Okay? I said this before. Not because you live in a particular city means you could just put up an Airbnb. And I want to talk about something briefly here too, because people are like, oh, Airbnb is oversaturated, which to a degree it is. I'm going to be honest, but let me tell you why I don't fear with it. One, I don't think I'm going to go past maybe I might to do as far as like a furnished rental is concerned. I don't think I'm going to go past probably 6, right? I already have 4. I don't think I'm going to get more than 2 more than that, because one, it is a lot to maintain, right? And then with, let me speak about for right now, right? The real estate market is a little precarious. I'm working with, I got into this property that I am in right now at an interest rate that's just about 4, okay? And then the other 2 properties that I have was bequested to me, right? My grandfather passed away and left the house to me and my mom, okay? That's how I got into that. But even though it's oversaturated in a lot of places, it gives more opportunity for you. You want to know why? Let's take Atlanta, for example. Atlanta was one of the places where the girls and dolls were selling the courses, and you see them running around. They have 10 properties. They have 12 properties. They have a whole floor. Most of that was arbitrage. Which means when the whole thing closed in, the first closing was the lockdown, right? They had to pivot. The second close-in is when the property manager was like, you know what, there's too much things going on. I think we could do this ourselves. So what they did was raise the rent on everybody. The other thing that came in was the regulation, right? So now in Atlanta, correct me if I'm wrong, you have your own property, right, which you live in, and then you can have one other one, which you have to have a permit for. What does that mean? That means those people that had all those other properties that was, garnering all of the competition, they have to give it up. And I'm pretty sure those people found a workaround, because that's what people go and do, specifically in Atlanta. And if you're from Miami, you know exactly how they get down in Atlanta, because it's very similar culture. But what does that do? That leaves the opportunity for other people that are doing like a little small type of thing to start off with to get started and still get bookings. You see how that works there? So it all depends on where you are. Because in a lot of cases, when they talk about like increased regulation, if you're small and you're doing like, say you have a 4-bedroom house and you're doing it room by room, that works in your favor, right? So even though it may be saturated, it'll decrease that saturation factor for you, right? And when we talk about furnished rentals on here, especially on my live, I'm not saying people shouldn't have big dreams and do things big and this, that, and the third. But what I'm saying is there are practical solutions to everyday answers, right? And one of the practical solutions to this issue that we're going to face in the future with inflation, because it's going to come and it's going to keep happening for a period of time, is to increase your income. And I know a lot of people like, they're not interested in entrepreneurship. They just want to go to their 9-to-5. Guys, I'm here to tell you, 9-to-5 don't give a shit about you. You got to have a backup plan. You got to look out for yourself first. Okay, you got to look out for yourself first, and this is an option for you. It may not be for everybody, but I'm bringing it to your attention. You may be able to mull over it, partner up with somebody else to do it. But I'm telling you, find a way to create extra income for yourself on your own. This is an actionable way to get started. It's an easier way to go ahead and get started. Look into it. Okay. Will you link the recording of this live? You said you have a YouTube. Yes, Mr. Nobody. I will record this. I am recording this live. TikTok records the lives. And I will work on this before I go. I am going to sleep tonight. I am still a night nurse. I still work at night. So before I go, I'll download it and upload it onto YouTube. If I'm unsuccessful, it was YouTube's fault. All right. Before I go on to the next part, which is very, very important, I want you to put a 3 in the comments if you found this live helpful or inspiring. If you found this live helpful or inspiring, put a 3 in the comments. Why am I asking you this? Because over on this side, I want to stay on mission. All right? It's a low-tech way for me to make sure that I'm reaching my target audience, and that I'm sticking close to my mission of helping people every day I come on these people on Beyonce's internet, right? That's what I'm here for, okay? There's a lot of this information. It took me years of podcasts, years of reading books, years of talking to random people, doing all the things that are cringe and made people uncomfortable. And I'm coming on here kind of being cringe too, right? Because, I am telling you to go check out my website, follow me on YouTube. And if this appeals to you, get my course. All of those things are cringy. But at the same time, it's necessary, okay? Because if we're going to give people actionable steps to help themselves, we have to give them what? Quality information. And I can flip this around, which I am going to do again, because I'm not opposed to the people that screenshot and leave. It still counts as a win for me because you brought the information. But, because then people will say, well, we can find all of this on YouTube and Google. And you absolutely could. But I'm going to tell you, going down the annals of YouTube without any direction can potentially be a recipe for disaster. I'm not telling you not to do it, but I'm just giving you a little heads up. All right? So let's move forward. So where were we? Finding the property, making sure that it's in an appropriate neighborhood. Next, let's talk about funding. All right. I funded my property with money from being a travel nurse. Is that a likelihood for people now? Not in this particular market. It's a little bit flat. Okay. Now, this is why I said this one was more specific to travel nurses. People, friends, let me tell you, one of the best places you can be as a nurse is with your experience and your skill set. Even though I promote travel nursing, I'm still a big proponent of unions. A union saved me $5,000 back in 2012, and I'll never forget it. My mom's a part of a union. All my friends are a part of a union. I am union strong, even though I participate in travel nursing. And some people will say, the travel nursing industry is a little, counter some of the points that the goals that unions are trying to make. If you're not a travel nurse, you should be a part of a hospital with a union. The quality is, the quality of nursing there is better, i.e. California. That's all I'm going to say. If you're a nurse and you're in the nursing field and I say California, I'm not going to say anything else because you already know. However, travel nursing has afforded me the ability to do a lot of things. Travel, help my family, take time off when my anxiety is way too high and I just need to step away from the bedside, and for me to start not 1 but 2 businesses. Okay? Yep, a union will save your license, which is basically a big part of how well, not a big part of how all of us make our living. So I'm big on it. And the union will educate you. If you go to the unions in New York, they have two. They will send you all the way to get your DMP. Okay. Now, why am I talking about this? Because one of the ways that I got started was funds from being a travel nurse. Okay. So I use my travel nursing money. And once again, for my travel nurses, do not leave the safety of your staff hospital if one, you don't have good money management, two, you don't have a plan to save money, and three, you don't have a backup plan. Don't leave. Do not listen to the girlies up and down on the thing, on the tickety tock, in the Benz, and the Louis bag in this. You mind your business. Mind the business that pays you. Do not leave the safety of your good travel staff job. I don't care how much they piss you off. Go somewhere else, because you will be out here holding water in a bucket with no bottom. Okay, I took my funds and I put them in a I did some investments. All right, some things hit, some things didn't. Apple to the moon. And I put them into this particular property, right? And it worked out well for me. That's me, what's known as bootstrapping, right? I used my own funds to do that. As the project went on, I had business credit. Now, how did I get business credit? Remember when I told you earlier that you need to structure the business like this? This business that I run through my furnish rentals was a business that went defunct years before. I started this business back in 2016. It was a completely different thing. I think it was nursing oriented or something like that. And guess what? I did not put the time and effort into it. However, I kept up with the compliance, right? I kept getting distracted by, making quick money, doing travel nursing contracts instead of spending all the things that I was learning back into the business. I wasn't focused. Let me keep it 100% with you. But one of the benefits that I did get was, one, I incorporated a long time ago. So now when I repurposed the business, changed the NAICS code, I didn't need to change the name because when I incorporated it, I used a very generic name. So now the rental business is DBA under it. I'm not making these things up, guys. I'm telling you from my experience. And then now when I went to apply for business credit, after I said, okay, you know what? I felt like I put enough skin in the game. Let me go start using OPM, other people's money. I was able to get credit. And I did not apply for everything that I was qualified for. Why? Because you do not want to be in a position where you're over leveraged. When you go and get leverage, you need to have a very specific plan on how you are going to grow. And that includes how you're going to obtain more revenue. I stopped at a certain point because I had these two properties here, and then I technically use other people's money, which is from the VA. Shout out to all the people at the VA. My mom works at the VA. She was able to get a low cost loan in order to redo the other properties, units. Let's call them units because there's one triplex and then there's 3 units and 2 of them were rented out. The other 2 units using that money, which is other people's money. Now that's on the personal side, which is fine. But the way we have it structured, my business will take over those after that's finished. Because remember, corporate veil, right? You need to separate personal from business. Okay. So, that's my take on funding. And I want to give a little disclaimer. First thing, if you come on here and you see the people talking about CPN, I'm going to talk about business credit right now. First things first, you come on here talking about people, you see people talking about CPN, buyer beware. Let me tell you this. Do CPNs work? Yes. Do I know people that have CPNs? Yes. Do I know people that have used CPNs and got car, house, this, that, and the third? Yes. However, CPN is just like paraphernalia, right? Somebody can be out there doing the whole time. You go try for the first time, boom, you have a brain bleed. Okay, be very wary. There are people out there selling CPNs that are attached to people that are deceased. There are people who are doing CPNs out there that next thing you know, you don't manage that CPN properly. All of that debt you curated on this alternative social now merges with your personal profile and now you're effed. Okay, the CPN is basically like an alternative social. There's a specific name for it. I forgot. I think it's like credit profile number or something like that. But it's very popular on here because it's a good way for people to get credit fast because people do not want to wait the 90 days to rehab their credit. Listen, my grandmother said, prevention is better than cure. Okay, rest in peace to her. Prevention is better than cure. It looks very, very alluring to see in 30 days all the things you wanted to have gotten through your hard work. You're able to accomplish it. Be very careful. Okay, don't be that person out there. Because the other thing you have to remember, when you're doing these things, which I don't know if it's explicit to people, you're going to do federal time. These things are closely associated with and can be categorized as fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, identity theft, all of these things on a federal level. You do not want those kind of problems. Okay, so as far as using the CPN to build your personal credit and your business credit, I am not a proponent of it. I know it exists. I know it works. I'm telling you ahead of time some of the things that I know about it. If you decide to go and do it, that's on you, sister or brother. But if I were you and had a family to take care of, or people rely on me, or whatever, even if I was a regular Joe Schmo and I didn't have all of those responsibilities, I would stay away from it and build my own credit. All right, and I have a guide in there. You can pay someone to do your credit. I think it's okay to pay someone to do your credit, even though the steps are there for you to do it yourself. You may just not have the time, and what you're going to do is pay someone to get that time back. I think that's fine. I'm not opposed to that. People that help with, credit repair, if they know what they're doing, make sure they have a good track record. Okay, I have done it before. It has helped me greatly. My credit wasn't bad, but I had a lot of inquiries on there, and they helped me get them off, and it has helped my credit a lot. Okay. The other thing too about business credit is, listen, I know what the girls are saying. Okay. I know what the girls are saying. Get the quill, get the gas card, get the this. And mind you, I have all of those things. Nothing builds your business credit better than having, one, good personal credit. Two, an established business with revenue. Okay. At least some revenue, something coming in. I'm telling you. Are there hacks that you can do? Absolutely. Okay. Are there places you can apply for your business credit with just the EIN? Yeah, I'll give you one for free. Sam's Club. Okay. However, in order to have stabilized credit or start off on a good track, remember you're creating a foundation. There are a lot of opportunities that can present itself if you have a business with a sound foundation. I'm talking about future contracts with different businesses and the government and things of that nature. That's very, very important. If that's what your ambition is, to start off with the solid foundation. Do not build your business house on the sand. It will wash away. Okay. All right. Good. What's a good virtual office? I mentioned Regis and I mentioned One Postal. Okay. Those are two of the ones that I know. There's another one. I can't think of it right now. Next time I do this live, I'll be sure to write it down and look it up so I can come back and tell you. But those are the two that I've used. I don't want a personal address on the LLC, so then you should definitely get a virtual address. Okay. Yeah, that's it. All right. So funding. So when it comes to the business credit, that's what we just said. Well, those are the two best ways to go ahead and get started. If you're interested, I have a list of grants, credit unions, and other businesses that give you favorable business credit, specifically as a new business owner in the course. And it's discount loss connection. The devil is working against me today. I don't know why. Am I good now? We're working out? Okay, we're doing good. All right, we're going to take a little dance break, guys, because my mouth is a little dry. We're going to take a quick little break because I need to rest my mouth for 1 second. Okay, give me a second. All right, while we're taking a little break, let's see if we get the likes up to 6,000. Help me out. Let's share the live 3 more times and get the likes up. It's not for my ego. I know it's really cringe, but what it does is the same way you were able to find the live, that's how we pay it forward, right? We're big on the pay it forward here. Shout out to whatever that movie was where the guy talked about paying it forward. That's how we do things over here, right? You were brought to the live by people liking the live, so just do the same for them. And let's share the live with 3 other people. Thank you, guys. Let's share the live one more time. Thank you for getting the likes up. I appreciate it. All right, let's talk about this. Let's take a little break. The last of your background is not visible. I'm going to turn it around. People want me to turn this around. I will do that. Give me 1 second, and then let's see what's your what we're dealing with here. Ooh, hold on a second. 1 second. 1 second. Ooh, I go to bed soon. All right, so let's talk about what you're talking about. I love a good dance break. I do. I love a good dance break, guys. I like good energy, man. Being around people. You ever been around people that are like good vibes, like really good people? It's contagious. Okay, so I turned around. So you got that 100K, and everyone's telling you different things. So let's talk about that, right? So say, for instance, you're a travel nurse and you're thinking, should you lease a place or should you buy? Is now the ideal time to buy? The ideal time to buy is when you are ready to buy. And I don't know, I'm just going to give you my opinion. You're going to keep doing more research, right? But sometimes the more research you do, the more stuck you get, right? So for instance, let me give you my instance. When I finished up my contracts, I was in Texas, Florida, all of those other places. And I came back, I said, all right, you know what? I need to settle down. I took a travel job in Charlotte, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to buy some property. When I entered into the real estate market, my interest rate was like, I think my interest rate is like 4%. It's like 4.0 something, whatever. Okay. That was favorable for me. The other thing too was that my business model was different. I knew what I was going to do. I set up the background to make sure that I was already tapped into where I'm going to get people from to stay at my property. Also, I knew if I did Airbnb, I still would do well because I come from a hospitality background. I used to be a bartender. I used to be a server. My grandmother used to have a restaurant. And I grew up on an island that's a major part of it is dependent on tourism. So you're always interacting with different types of people. Okay, so I knew that was an appropriate business model for me. So even though the property was a little bit more expensive than I wanted to pay for it, my ROI, my return on my investment was a double digit. Right? It was double digits because my business model was different. This is just me. This is not financial advice. I'm giving you my personal experience, right? Now, one of the things I think that will deter people right now, or people should be conscious about, is that interest rate. Now, people are always saying, well, you can refinance out of the interest rate and so on and so on. But what if you can't? You don't know. The most I can tell you is if you believe in yourself and you set up a sound plan on how you're going to make that money, make that nut every month, how you're going to get a return back on the investment that you put down, then I would say go for it, right? Because the other thing about investment is the thing that people don't realize or forget is time. Time is how you make money. And time is also how you make money, or one of the ways you make money, right? Over time. Same thing with like when you invest in stocks, right? Apple split. I bought a lot of Apple stock before they split. Now I'm just waiting for it to go back to where the equity increasing in the property, and you're going to make money from the cash flow you receive. You also make money from using that business that you have there, okay, in order to pivot into something else, right? So for instance, you owned a property and you've been cleaning it yourself, and you're like, you know what? If I can subcontract this cleaning out to someone, you get some other people to do cleanings, now you have a cleaning business or something like that. It all comes from you taking that jump, right? I know that example was a little bit, off. Or like, say for instance, you decorated your Airbnb yourself, right? I have a interior stylist. Her name is Close Conscience. I have a link. She's so good. I put a link to her in my bio in case anyone's interested. She does impeccable work. Go and take a look at her. But say for instance, you decorated yourself and you're really good and people comment on it. Maybe you want to outsource that service to somebody else. Outsource that service to other people. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's important. So if you were here with me from the beginning, right, from when we started this live, you see how the things I mentioned before all lead into other things? You see that? Okay, the structure of the business, how you name the business, just in case you want to add on other service lines, you can do that and still market. You see what I'm saying? So they all kind of go together there. So, go check, guys, before you do anything, right? Whether you take a recommendation of mine, go check things out, right? I know a couple of people in here bought the course. I don't know if they're still here with me. They're going through it now. They can give you feedback about how chock full of good stuff it is. My interior stylist, Close Conscience, she is gifted. I'm telling you, people think that when they see certain things, it's just, especially in a home, it's just, oh, they put it all together and stuff like that. No, sometimes when you see really crafted spaces, that's a gift. I don't have that. I know. I know, baby. You got to be easy with that one. Yeah, the rate is a little high. I mean, the only thing though and this is from a person that has 2 real estate mentors. Shout out to Dominic and shout out to Jared. People that invest in real estate, like hardcore real estate investors, they're always going to buy property. However, they do not use the same financial products that we use. They use hard money. They may use creative financing techniques like when the person that owns the home is the bank, it's owner financing. And they may already have pre-existing relationships with other financial institutions where they get, more favorable rates. Or they may just pay for things with cash, right? Because they've been doing this. They probably had a deal where they made 2-3 times the amount of the original sale of the property. So they have access to cash. They're always going to buy property. You know what I mean? Subject to, thank you. They're always going to buy property. We cannot compare ourselves to those people. What I can tell you though, if you get into a financial product, if this is your first home, such as FHA, that's what I used, you're only putting down 3.5%. So what you're bringing to the table is going to be a little bit less, but that interest rate is going to be dependent on what you're willing to withstand, right? Because the higher the interest rate, the higher the mortgage payment, and a couple other things are involved in that. So you have to do a self-assessment, okay, to determine that. All right. And then listen, I get it. When you have that money in your pocket and you want your money to start making money, because let's be honest, if you keep a large sum of money in the bank, you're losing money, right? Because they're telling you inflation is 6% and it's probably double that if you really run the numbers the right way. So actually leaving all of that money in the bank, you're actually losing money. You want to put it to work, right? You want your money to cash flow, but you have to make sure it's in the right scenario and situation. That's a tricky question. So the reason why I decided to put down the least amount, because the interest rate was low, right? Because I would rather have my money to do other things, which is what I did, bootstrap myself to get the property up to par. I did other things to the property as well, in addition to getting it ready to be a furnished rental. And that worked out better for me. This is what I've been taught by my real estate mentors, right? If you get, so say for instance, your interest rate were to be low, right? It would make sense not to pay it off expeditiously. You want to get it down, right, where you have more equity in the property so you can leverage the money from that, like getting a HELOC, or sometimes even just peace of mind where you have a stake, right? So if you have over 20% or whatever the number is, then they would take off the PMI and that would lower the mortgage rate and all that other stuff. That is something you could probably do, right? So you don't have to pay PMI or whatever it is. But if you're thinking about bootstrapping yourself, you may want to have more access to money on. You see what I'm saying? To a tax expert as well, and you need to do a self-assessment about what plans do you have, okay? Because sometimes if you put the money in something, you're not going to be able to take it out readily. So you need to give consideration to that. Right. So if you wanted to get enough, so let's think about it this way. We're talking about leasing and buying a property here, right? So say for instance, you had that money, right? Put down the 3.5%. And another deal comes about. If you put all your money into that first deal, you can't take advantage of the second deal, because now the down payment for the second deal, since you already bought your first property, right? And you should try to buy the first property, should be a multifamily property. You get more bang for your buck. You're going to now have to put down 20%. I've seen instances where you can get a conventional product for a little as 15, but that is not available to everybody, and it's not that popular. Most of the time, you're going to have to put down 20 to 25% on the next property that you buy. So you're going to need more cash in order to do that deal. All right, hopefully that's helpful. Just keep mulling over it, keep doing research. You know what? Let's go to biggerpockets.com. The podcast, go to Apple Podcasts and type in Bigger Pockets. That's where I got a lot of my real estate knowledge from, apart from having mentors. Biggerpockets.com. They have like over 500 episodes on there, and they are amazing. Amazing. The guy, Brandon Turner, he's not on the show anymore, but he has 2 books. Type in his name, Brandon Turner, I listen to Audible. He has like a couple of books in there about like investing out of state, getting started in real estate. They were very easy reads and they're very, very helpful. Those are some of the things that I used. Can you do a 3.5 on a second property if you're doing owner occupied, does not have a FHA? I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. Okay, can you put down 3.5%? All right, if the second property is not, if the first property was not an FHA, then you can do the 3.5 with the second property using the FHA financial product. Also, you know you can use FHA multiple times, right? It's just you can only be in one FHA product at a time. I don't know if that's what you're asking me, but hopefully. Can you? I'm telling you, you can. Oh, okay. You can do 3.5 on a second property if you're doing owner occupied and does not. Oh, okay. So we're saying the same. Are we saying the same thing, San? I think we're saying the same thing. So if she does the conventional first, she can go back and do the FHA for the second one. You just can only be in one. Okay, we are saying the same thing. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, so you can use FHA multiple times. People done that. That's one of the things that people do, right? They do get into the FHA product, and they specifically get into the FHA product doing multifamily, right? Then they find another reasonable loan product, right, that may not have the interest as low as FHA, but it's not as high as like a conventional mortgage. They come out of it, and then they use the FHA again because it requires less money up front. Yeah, okay, Sam, we're talking about the same thing. Fantastic. Everybody's on beat. Quick question. What's the guy in the Bigger Pockets name again? The main guy, which I don't think he's on there anymore, his name is Brandon Turner. Brandon Turner. Yeah. So if anybody else in here is interested in real estate, go ahead and check out the Bigger Pockets podcast. They're awesome. They know their stuff over there. And one of the main guys that started it, his name is Brandon Turner, and he has several books. And the other guy on there, the bald-head guy, I forgot his name. He has a couple of books too about investing out of state and stuff like that. I just don't remember his name. I just remember Brandon Turner because he had like a really eclectic. Brandon Turner, yeah, with an N. Yep, that's it. Brandon Turner. Yep, that's him. And Google will correct you. So if you're interested in real estate, I think, great. That's what you need to do. While you're making this decision about what to do, listen to those podcasts at least once a day, and it will help you out. Trust me. All right, guys, thanks for sharing the live. Thanks. Oh, guys, cool. Can we get to 10,000? Let me know if we can get to 10,000. If we can get to 10,000 likes, that would be superb. All right, so we kind of basically talked about, finding a property and paying for it, right? Most of it had to do with on the paying side, right? Because we had my fellow travel nurse in here, and we were kind of like helping her in real time. The other option is to do rental arbitrage, right, with a furnished rental. I am not opposed to rental arbitrage. My story into rental arbitrage, when I first started, I started doing Airbnb about 2 years ago. The first year, I started off with a townhouse. My cousin moved to Cali. Me and my other cousin were like, okay, hey, we'll take the property over from you. We will do Airbnb. It was in the right location. It was next to like 2 different hospitals. It was in South Florida, so it was close to the beach. We were lit. We put a little extra money in there. She left all of our furniture and stuff. We put like an inflatable hot tub outside, popping. We're rocking and rolling for probably like 3 to 4 months. Guess what? Get a knock on the door, HOA, shut it down, or you're getting sued. Okay? And luckily, we were given the opportunity for a certain amount of time to, cancel our bookings and so on and so forth. And that's when I learned, like, okay, you know what? The next time I do this, 1, I'm going to have my own stuff because, whatever. 2, make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you can put things where they can go, okay? And you need to have a backup plan. And you need to have some security, right? Having that LLC, creating that corporate veil and things like that will bar you from that. Because now if we had actually gotten sued at that time, all right, I had a business that was incorporated, but I did not transition everything over into this new thing. Because remember, this business that I run my furnished rental out of, it was kind of like a shelf corp, right? It was keeping up with the compliance, and it had its own bank account, but there was nothing really going on with it, right? And I had to, it's a good thing, right? Because then they would have sued us instead of the business. Okay, that's why I'm telling you guys to do this. I'm speaking from experience, okay? So when you're doing the rental arbitrage, is there still room to do that? Yes, I talk about more of that in the course, but I'll go ahead and tell you about some of it right now. One of the things that's I don't want to say maybe a disadvantage is the fact that the previous hosts before us, they ran amok, right? They didn't do what they were supposed to do, and a lot of these property management companies and complexes bore the brunt of it, right? Their tenants complained, and it cost them some money because people did damages and stuff like that. Is there still an opportunity to do that? To do that, you just have to find the right situation. You have to find the right situation. The place I found is turnkey, already done, already being used as Airbnb, and they're selling and no HOA. Perfect. And you can find a lot of that in Florida. And that's what I did, right? The property that I found wasn't already doing Airbnb, but it was turnkey, right? All I had to do, I put up a fence. It's a duplex. I put up a fence. I created a division so the person in the front had their own side yard and patio. If you go to my TikToks, I show like the patio that I created, and then I put one in the back, which is a little bit bigger. So that one, people who have like pets and stuff like that, they love that one because the dog runs up and down. It's like a whole race course back there. It's actually pretty big. So there is that. Okay, I'm confused as why they're selling, but so nice. It depends on what neighborhood it's in too. Why they would be selling, because you know what? Why people sell their Airbnbs? It's the time. If you don't outsource all the things that need to be done for your furnished rental, it can be time consuming if you don't have good systems in place. That could be it too. I really hope it doesn't flood. I know it's very tricky there in Fort Lauderdale. Make sure if you're looking into the property, make sure you get a good inspection report. Make sure that there's no structural damage. Make sure there's no major electrical damage or anything like that. And then I forgot how you find out exactly about the flooding. It should be, I forgot how that works. You usually get to that point once you get insurance for the property. They'll let you know about that. But do a little bit more research. But one thing I can offer, which is not a negative thing per se, is that running the Airbnb for a lot of people got overwhelming, right? And then maybe they live out of state, putting a long-term tenant in there, that may not be a good thing because they probably had long-term tenants in there before. Maybe that caused them a lot of strife. A lot of times, if you see, especially if they've been in real estate for a long time, a lot of small mom and pop realtors, if they've been in real estate for a long time, been dealing with tenants for a long time, they're moving on to the commercial side of real estate, which is less hands-on. Hey, what's up, Petito? How are you? I have no place down there. Okay, the appeal to me is that I will have somewhere to stay when I come home, which is good. GIS map, yes, for every town gives you flooding. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for your help. You've been helping me out a lot today. I appreciate that. All right. Where were we? We talked about funding. We talked about the purchase and negotiating of the lease and things of that nature. Furnishing the rental. Guys, the days of which when you could go on Facebook Marketplace and pick up a futon and put it in the Airbnb, not happening. One, you're not going to get a booking. Two, if you do get a booking, they're going to slay you on the reviews. And you need to have good reviews on Airbnb or Verbo or wherever it is, or you're not going to make any money. I do minimal marketing for my business. Minimal. I shouldn't say that. I do minimal marketing for the Airbnb, the short-term rental portion of my business. The mid-term rental part of my business, I do marketing because those carry the traveling professionals and the which include travel nurses. When it comes to the Airbnb portion, I don't do that much. All I do is manipulate the prices. You know why? Because one, I'm a super host. I've been maintaining that status for over a year. Two, my reviews speak for themselves. The last 3 guests that I've booked have booked my reviews and told me up front that they booked because of the reviews. You got to give good customer service. You must provide an experience for people when they come to stay at your Airbnb. If you have an Airbnb or a furnished rental and you look at it and you say, you know what, I wouldn't stay here with my family for 3 nights, then you need to start over. People are not going to spend their money on anything. You have to give people quality for their money. It just is what it is. Okay? So there is that. So some of the places that I find furnishings is Amazon. I like Amazon. I give Jeff Bezos too much of my money, but you know, it is what it is. Wayfair, Overstock. There you can find good pieces on furnished rentals, but you need to make sure that they don't have a smell, a stain, they're not broken. Buy sturdy stuff to put in there if this is something you're putting together. People are not coming to your furnished rental to have Bible study, friends. Buy a good bed. Buy a good mattress. Okay, spend them especially the big items, the mattress and the couch. When you're doing your budget, spend the money on that. It's going to be worth it, because there's nothing worse than buying a bed multiple times in the first few months, because the people are coming there and having not Bible study there, and something happens to it. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And then there are other places too, like where I am in North Carolina. They have a lot of liquidation outlets for furniture. I don't know if you guys know, North Carolina, High Point, North Carolina is like one of the furniture capitals in the United States. They have liquidation sites there where they get stuff from World Market, Target, Ashley Furnitures and stuff like that. So if you're into thrifting or anything like that, you can find pieces like that as well. But put effort into making sure that thing looks nice. Okay, don't just throw some stuff together. All right, if you're a dude, you might want to get like a little bit of a feminine touch if you don't have that gift to put to curate a space. Same thing with my my mentor. He's really good at business. He's really good at real estate, but he sucks at Airbnb because he's talking. You used to talk to the guests crazy. Now, in his responses, I notice he's mimicking the responses I give the guests, how I speak to him. He's catching up on how I talk to them, and he's using the same language. And he hired my interior stylist, Close Conscious. Her link to her page is in my bio. And he used her, and he came in the other day. She just finished a project for him. It looks impeccable. Impeccable. Like, it looks so good. I'm talking about restoration hardware good. And he stepped in there, and you know, he's a a dude that's been around for a little while. He stepped in there and he was geeked. I'm talking about, he was like excited. I'm talking about a grown-ass man. Like, I'm talking about first day of school, you got new clothes, excited. You ready to go to school and step. And I was like, damn, he loved it. Okay? Yeah, and I'm excited because I'm excited on multiple tiers. Because one, that's going to be a really good property for me to market because I help with the marketing and stuff too. And then two, I was able to provide my friend with an opportunity to get into the realm of what she wants to do formalized, because I was her first informal client. And that's her first big client, and you know, she got her first 5-figure deal working with him. And I just can't wait to advertise that space. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. So we're furnishing it, marketing plan. So like I said before, for as far as Airbnb goes, I don't do a lot of marketing for it because one, it comes from my my social proof, my reviews. This is why you need to do good customer service. Okay. Outside of that, there are other places for you to do your marketing. So we were talking about travel nurses before. Guess what? We're already in the groups, right? We're already in the groups. So we already have a leg up, right? We're already in the hospitals. Marketing is not just paying for ads and posting on social media. Marketing is talking about what you're doing to the right audience. Okay? So if you are a travel nurse or you work in healthcare, it's a little bit easy for you because you're technically already inside the places and spaces where the people that you would be looking for to come and stay at your property being there. Now, there's a thing about, boundaries and people being in your business at work and stuff like that, but you need to develop, how are you going to talk about your business in those spaces? Because that's where the people are going to be coming from, okay? You have your furnished finders. I get people from furnished finders before. Some of them, I unfortunately have to turn them away because I only have 2 units here and the other 2 I'm renovating. The only thing I don't like about furnished finders is the platform is very clunky. I don't know if anyone's used it before. It's, especially if you use like Airbnb and furnished finders, it's not so smooth. Airbnb has invested a lot of money into their back office and all of that for it to be, seamless. Same thing with Verbo. I don't care for Verbo. One, the people I always get booked off of there are weird. Okay, they're always trying to scam on there. I don't like it. I don't know if it's just me or what. I'm not a fan. And I get some. I don't get a lot of referrals. Sometimes I get a few, but they're not for here. They're for in New York. Okay. So yeah, it's terrible, but worth using for sure. The website is trash. I mean, and plus you're paying for a membership, right? You have to pay for Furnished Finders. Furnished Finders is not free. They need to do better. Because it would seem to me the platform that Airbnb has, especially if you when you go into the back end, curating that or making it more like that would be way cheaper than the way they have furnished rentals. But I don't know. I'm not a software engineer. I still use it reluctantly because I do get good people off of there. The last travel nurse I have, she just keeps renewing. And she's amazing. Shout out to her. Love her. Okay, so there is that. And then my friend, I told you I have a real estate friend from Baltimore. That's where he gets his people too as well. Okay. So that's your marketing plan, making sure that you're comfortable with talking about your business and making sure you're talking about your business to the right audience. Next, your management plan. We kind of touched on this a little by little. You get the property. Now how you're going to manage it. So what does it look like managing a furnished rental, right? It looks like who's going to clean. It looks like who's going to manage the back office and, talk to the guests and answer inquiries. Okay. Who's going to advertise? Meaning, for instance, if you want to put it on an alternative platform, who's going to put that up and answer those people? And then who's going to fix stuff? Okay. In the beginning, most of those things were me, except for the fixing stuff. I had a contractor that I developed the relationship with. He was the fixer. Me, I did the first 3 things for probably 6-7 months. So I was the cleaner, I was the marketer, I was the customer service rep, and then I was also in charge. Okay. This is not ideal for everybody because everybody may not have the time. I have a relatively flexible job and I also work nights, so I can steal time from the daytime to do certain things. And this may not be ideal for everybody because if you're working a 9 to 5, then it may be a little bit hard for you to get away to turn over the unit. However, I'm telling you, if you're looking into this business, you need to give consideration to you wearing all of those hats in the beginning to protect your margins. You need to be able to go into this business where you get out of the red, which is where you spent money to pay for all of the furnishings and things of that nature, and get into the black. One of the best ways to do that is to give the business your time. Okay? If you outsource everything, it's going to cut into your margins, and then you probably will never get out of the red. Or you'll just continue to break even and not make any profit. Yeah, you're going to make revenue, but you're not going to make any profit. Okay? So make sure you give consideration to that. And that's part of the reason why I say, if someone asked me about AirDNA the other day, I'm not opposed to AirDNA, but if you only have 1 or 2 properties, what AirDNA does, it helps making sure that, it can help with making sure you're putting it in the right place. But the things that I told you before about making sure that other people, the reasons why other people want to come there, that you're doing that yourself, right? Reverse engineering. The other thing it'll do is it'll help with your pricing. If it's just 1 or 2 units, why do you need AirDNA to tell you to do that when you could just go on the other side of Airbnb that everybody sees, zoom out and look what everybody else is charging and then put yourself right in there like Price is Right. Remember on Price is Right? The thing costs $100. You bid $101. Boom, that person's going up to talk to Bob Barker. It's the same thing. So making sure you're keeping your expenses low, okay? So let me give you another way. For my Airbnb, it's a duplex. I got internet, right? I don't need internet on both sides because it's a smaller duplex. So I just pay for it on one side, and then I bought a mesh router so it goes over into the other side, right? Keeping your expenses low because things change, things ebbs and flow. Hey, Krista, guys. My good friend Krista Jennings has joined the chat. If you're interested, someone, I think Mr. Nobody was here. He wanted to start, I don't know if it was marketing for his business or a marketing business. Krista has been on social media for a very, very long time, helping people market with marketing for their business and business development. Go ahead and give her a follow, please. Okay, she just joined the chat. Krista Jennings. A marketing business. Jessica, what do you mean? You have a marketing business? Go ahead, let me know. Hey, Krista. Yeah, so she's going to be the second one in the viewer's eyes up top. Go ahead and give her a follow. Pick her brain. She does do consultations and things of that nature. So if you have a business and you're looking for a way to, start, how should you go about with your marketing? And marketing is so important because, guys, you can do all of these things the correct way. You're not going to make any money if people don't know you have a business. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. People need to know your business exists in order to patronize you. People need to know your business exists in order for you to help them. Okay? Nobody and I are trying to start a marketing biz and learning from you. Oh, how to structure. Oh, okay, good. And there are other things involved with the structure of this, right? There's some other little nuances to it, like the right industry code, making sure you have connections with certain people. So for instance, depending on, so I do this live for IV hydration, which is a niche of nursing or nursing entrepreneurship. It would follow the same structure, but each step will require you to at least at minimum have a relationship with the following: an insurance professional, okay, a tax professional, and a healthcare lawyer. The same thing kind of applies here as well. At minimum have a relationship with them as well, but at least narrow it down. Whatever city or state or town you're in, at least have that, their name or something like that, where you have like a connection with them. Because some of these things, specifically as your business starts to grow and you're doing more things, you're going to have contracts and things of that nature. You're not a lawyer. Don't guess. Okay? Do not guess. Speak to an expert. It shows 19. Oh, I only see 10. All right, that's cool. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, nobody, so that's why you guys were like, okay, screenshot here. Perfect. Putting mine on the MLS to rent my vacation condo. That's also a good way to do it as well. Listed on the MLS. Definitely so. Definitely so. The only thing with the MLS and the rent and the Zillow and stuff, I noticed specifically if it's an Airbnb property, sometimes people try to do like scams and stuff. Let me know, Time and Terror, if you've heard about that. It could be a Florida specific thing. I've seen a news report of it happening out west. I think it was like Oregon or somewhere like that. But there are a lot of scams that are taking place as well. So just be wary. How can they scam? When you list it on there and it says it's an Airbnb, the person may grab that listing, book the Airbnb for a short period of time, and then show your house. Show your house as if they're selling it. And then, there's certain things involved with the real estate process, right? Earnest money in certain states, deposits in certain states. If a person doesn't understand how the real estate process works, or they have like a prudent realtor, because sometimes people go out and try to do things on their own, they can get scammed. Listen, scammers are very good at inserting themselves in all industries and figuring out how to take money from people. Come on, babe, you know that. We from Miami. Better get FHA loans as a couple than getting one after you get married. Yes, that's a good point. And it's better for you. And I think you're saying each of you get one, right? And this goes doubly for multifamily properties. So if you're thinking about getting married, right? It's you and your girlfriend. You guys are definitely getting married. Each of you should try to buy a house prior to getting married. Absolutely. Big way to grow your investment portfolio. I'm renting 3-month minimum. My daughter's a real... Okay, so if your daughter's a realtor in that area, she will be more than aware of what's taking place, because typically people in their city know how their city works. All right, did we finish everything, guys? We went through the management plan. The main thing I wanted to say about the management plan is to make sure that you have people that are going to be able to help you, right? So now it's me, Monty, and Miss Rosie. Rosie does the cleaning. Monty does the fixing. My guests are well behaved, so he doesn't have to really fix too much. But there's certain things I do to upkeep, right? And now I have a new lawn guy who comes in and does the lawn, and there is that. All right, so we are at the end. If anybody has any specific questions, you can go ahead and let me know. I will be putting this up on YouTube, because someone earlier asked. I think they had to either go to work or do something. I don't know if they're still here with me. There is that. Oh, I think they're still here with me. Perfect. Okay, so I will be doing that as well. If you found the live inspiring and you did not answer before, go ahead and leave a 3 in the chat so I can, do my low-tech method of keeping track of being on message. If you already answered, don't answer again. We got to keep it everything on the upper up. Okay, so I guess the people that answered, that I helped or were inspired, already answered. All right, if you have any more questions, put them down in the chat and let me know. Do yourself. I'm not playing with you. You already answered. All right, so there is that. All right, Petite, I'm going to put you down because you weren't here before. Alrighty. I know, yeah, you already answered. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, keep me abreast of what you got going on. And definitely remember, check out biggerpockets.com. I keep saying .com. They have a website, but what I'm trying to bring your attention to is the podcast, right? The podcast is amazing. And then they have different entrepreneurs on there. They talk about real estate 80% of the time. The other 20% is other things on there as well. And I will be, I'm going to be putting up a reading list on my website. Guys, if you're not already following me, get ready for the cringe portion of this. brace yourselves. If you're not already following me, go ahead and give me a follow on YouTube. I think I only got like 15 subscribers over there, which I love my 15 subscribers. But what I'm going to be doing is taking these lives and putting them over there. And we need to start creating spaces off of TikTok because we don't know. It's not cringe. People say it's cringe. Obviously, I don't care, right? I've been my entire livelihood involves talking to random people, and actually talking to random people in an intimate type of situation, right? I'm an ICU nurse, so enough said, right? So I don't mind, but other people are like, whatever. And then, people are also annoyed by people, trying to get over on them on social media, right? Pushing this and pushing that. And even though I do have a course that comes along with this, if you notice, I'm giving away the corresponding information. It's the same thing. So if you just decide to, have me move to the side and you screenshot, that's cool. The main thing for me is that you're getting the information, and then I'm helping the people that are interested in this information. That's it. Alrighty. Okay, guys, I have to go to work tonight, so I'm actually going to come off, and I also don't want the live to be super duper long, or else Instagram, what's that place called? I need to go lay down. YouTube is going to give me that little red sign it gives me when it's too long. All right, so I see you guys on the other side of TikTok. Like I say every day, we're gonna go out with the music because we came in with the tunes. We're gonna go out with the tunes. So if you're not already following me, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Go ahead and give me a follow, okay? Because I do these lives all the time, and I do this one again, right? If you've been here before, I've done this live several times, but each time I come on, I remember something I didn't say the last time. Someone like San was in here. He helped me out with certain things that I knew, and some of them, I didn't know. And we all help each other, so we do get new information for it. Also, if you're interested in this, come back some more, because sometimes it takes you several different exposures to get motivated, right? Sometimes you have to hear their information over and over again, and then all of a sudden one day it starts to click, and then you take action, right? That's a real thing. So come over here. Hopefully we can get you motivated and inspired. All right, and I'll see you guys on the other side of TikTok. Guys, please don't let anyone steal your energy.